Well, it is 4:30. We will get started. I don't think we have any public comment. All righty. So I'll turn it over to you and Mr. Oberson, we'll get going.
Great, thank you, Mr. Ross. Good afternoon, Mr. Ross and committee members on this nice spring day. A couple of action items is all we have this month. The first being the purchasing agenda, which follows the agenda in your packet. Probably the most notable of that is the straight school improvement, which we're bringing to you for your approval. I'll let Ken just briefly talk about that. It's a little different arrangement with the ISDs we've had before with them.
So, several years ago, when we moved the KVO program and part of what was at Mayfield into the straight building, we committed to the parents that we would do a 3-year investment. The first year was some cosmetic work inside. The second year, last year, we did major work inside, including the restrooms, I don't know if they're really called kitchenettes, but the countertops with the teaching kitchens in them, the flooring. And then this year, the final year would be the roof, replace the windows, most of the doors, and do some masonry work on the exterior. So this is the third year of our 3-year commitment. The money is reimbursed from the ISD's special ed account.
Any questions for Mr. Clon-Parris regarding straight school and Raven ISD? Okay.
Again, I don't know if there's any other questions, any other items in there, I'm happy to answer. But no.
Anything about the purchasing agenda in general? Anyone have any questions?
I was curious about the Montessori contract, just in terms of how many staff that we have that would receive that training.
Rhonda,
Is
do you
that
know
just
the number of staff?
Leadership or? 11? Okay,
Teachers, yeah.
okay. Thank you.
That's obviously one of the ongoing costs of a Montessori program. yeah.
Yes.
I had a question with regards to the KISD.
Yes.
That is the additional $20,000, is it?
Yes.
Was there,
20,000 in one, 30,000 in the other building, yeah.
and were there already contingency plans already there in the original? Was there a percentage for contingency for changes, increases?
No, the way this works, these are buildings that are used for the special ed center programs, all right? So the buildings are owned by the ISD, and the center programs leases it. So, and we obviously run the center's program. So every year, what's budgeted at the beginning of the year, we base it on what ISD says. It's actual cost to run the building, so actual maintenance, custodial, utilities at a per month rate like most leases you see. So the estimate they gave us was 140,000 back, about this time a year ago for the budget, and just the actual costs are going to exceed the 140,000 or the 120,000
Okay.
on one and 405,000 the other. So that's just to increase that. Again, that gets built into the whole cost of the center programs. The math goes, we deduct the revenue we get, any excess cost gets billed out to all the local districts based on number of students they have in the program, so.
Just the difference between projection and actual?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Got it.
Yep.
Yeah, but I did have the same question.
Yeah,
when
he
I thought
did, yeah.
leasing, renting something, I was like, how did you change the price on the?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so, but yeah, well, thank you though. Any other questions about anything on the purchasing agenda, comments? Okay,
Motion for approval of the purchasing agenda?
Support.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. And then we have an action item on a donation to Innovation Central High School, an anonymous donation of $4,000. It's split $1,000 for each of the 4 academies. Well, actually, there's 5 academies now,
yeah.
but this has been an ongoing contribution. So this is back when we had the 4 and committed to continue to support the 4. So we would ask that you would accept this donation of $4,000.
Can I get a motion for the donation acceptance?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, great, thank you. So, reports, updates.
Yeah, the first couple of reports are the financial information, the first being the financial dashboard. We are now 9 months into our fiscal year, about 75% through our fiscal year, 78% through our school year. In terms of the fiscal year, we're tracking about what we expect, although we're in the process right now. Business Office is working on a second amendment to that budget, again, to true up information, fund revenues and expenditures to what we think we're going to ultimately end up at the end of our fiscal year in June. So the plans right now would be to bring that second amendment to our board or finance committee meeting in May next month. Other than that, everything's tracking. You will see we have a bond payment that's due in May, so next month's dashboard report. The bottom of the balance sheet, you'll see the bonded debt, which now sits actually, you'll see a couple things. Up to 157.6, that'll go down from the bond payment. Then in June, you'll see it go back up again. The most recent bond sale, which I'll talk about in just a few minutes. So, and then behind that dashboard report is the usual detail for those that want to look into more detail, the financial operations of the district. So happy to take any questions that we might have. Still waiting on no new information from the state level, by the way, just for next year's budget. We have not yet seen a Senate or a House budget proposal. We have as a governor's from, I don't know, a month or 6 weeks ago now. Just continue to hear that we are probably not going to have revenue numbers like we've had before by the time you have to finalize next year's budget, so we'll have to make our best estimates. And there will be a revenue consensus estimating meeting sometime in the middle of May, which hopefully will give us some better idea of where things may stand. But still, as I've said before, contingent a lot of it on this 45-cent gas tax increase, which many folks are not in favor of, so we'll see. But as far as the current year goes, we'll end up in the current year and have a budget amendment for you next month.
Okay. Any questions from anyone regarding the March financial statements? Okay, so on warm, safe, and dry updates.
We actually do have a warm, safe, and dry update. We're going to do roof improvements at East Leonard this summer against the warm, safe, and dry account. We've had a lot of trouble at East Leonard, and this is a good use for some of that emergency money. So it looks like we'll do the entire roof system. So that should come back to you next month in May for action, and we're expecting in the 100,000 to 150,000 range for that.
Okay.
Bond update, Southwest High School is underway. If you drive down 131, you can see it. You can see the Habitat houses that have started up. You can see our site looks mostly like dirt right now, but they're excavating for foundations. It's going to look really nice from the freeway. It's going to be very visible. So we're kind of excited that that's getting out of the ground and getting started. And then we met with the construction manager Earhart for Ottawa last week several times, and they are on site bringing trailers and fencing and identifying their storage areas at Ottawa. There's testing going on, so there's some limitations on where they can go in the building right now. But they'll start, as soon as testing is done, putting up temporary walls and isolating the construction areas from the student areas.
Great, great. Until it must be exciting. I even saw a little smile on your face.
Every once in a while, it slips through.
Okay, any questions about the bond construction or okay. And the bond sale, though.
Bond
Yeah,
sale,
good news.
very good news. We went to market last Wednesday, and we had a pre-sale call with the underwriters and Paul Stoddard, financial advisor from PFM, and myself, and anticipated a face value of about $78 million. And they believe that the total interest cost, the bonds carry a 5% coupon, but the market conditions are such that I believe we'd see, when the sale was done, about a 3.47 effective interest rate for the bonds. Lo and behold, for $78 million went to market, we had orders for over $370 million worth of bonds. Both the underwriters and Paul Stoddard said it's the most oversubscribed bond issue they've seen in a long, long time. I think that demonstrates a couple of things. One, we had good market conditions. Secondly, investors clearly are going to look first at the underlying credit risk, which is the district and its operations. In fact, I feel that a number of inquiries from potential investors the week between when the preliminary offering statement was issued and when the sale went to bonds. So significant demand for our bonds, and because of that demand, that impacts the price that investors are willing to pay. It ups the price, and financially, as it relates to bonds, when prices go up, interest rates go down. And so we came in at an effective rate of not 3.47, but 3.44. So that 3 basis points saved taxpayers over $2 million in total interest cost. It also reduced the face amount about $1 million to get the same amount of money we needed to fund that. And the really good piece of news is back in leading up to the vote by the public in November 2015, we had projected that the $175 million, when they were ultimately issued in full, would add about 2 mils to the current debt levy, which at that time included a bond debt levy and a 1 mil for sinking fund. We let the sinking fund expire at the end of 16, and because of good economic growth with property values going up, in fact, early last week, the Kent County report came out, and property values in the county were up 5.8%. Grand Rapids were up over 6%. So all that good news, and we currently are levying 4.3 mils on our current bond levy. With the new bonds that will be issued, we'll close on that in May, it will not increase our debt levy at all, stay at 4.3 mils. And back in 15, it was 3.8, it's 4.3, so instead of 2 mils, only went up a point, or half a point. And that rate will actually, based on projections, on some very conservative projections, will actually go down over the next number of years. So it's also given us, the district, flexibility in the future if we need to go to market, I don't know, 5, 6, 8 years down the road. Gives us more flexibility from that perspective. So that was all very, very good news. So when we signed the bond purchase agreement, I signed it on Thursday. So they are officially sold, and the final offering statement, which actually has the final bond prices, will be issued on, I think, Wednesday or Thursday of this week. And then a bunch of other legal documents are getting together, and we hope to close on May 14th, which will get money in the bank of $87.5 million. And we look, right now, projections are to spend the 2016 issue. We'll probably have that spent out sometime this summer, and then we'll start moving into the new issue. And Ken, I think this summer we're going to have, what's your estimate of construction under going out there?
Union starting, we'll have well over 60 million under construction at
Yeah,
any one time.
yeah, so it's big stuff. So all good news in the bonds. They're really, really good news. So
Good, thank you. I know we had talked, sound like that should be a John Himholt sort of story. Did you have any contact with him?
You know, John, we've talked about it. I don't know what, at this point, to be honest with you, what specifically he's going to do, but yeah,
Okay.
he wanted to get it out there.
All right, any comments, questions about the stuff? All right, well, that's a good note to end on. We don't have any policy issues or any other news that you need to bring, I'm assuming. Well, I guess that was quick, short. I guess one thing I will remind my colleagues,
Yeah.
our May meeting is moved to Tuesday because of Memorial Day.
The day after Memorial
So it's
Day.
the day after Memorial Day. when we are?
Going to be gone that day.
Okay, but I think we'll have a quorum. Any plans with the other two here?
Day after Memorial Day.
Yeah, the usual fourth Monday is graduation.
Yep,
So
so
we
we-
can't, we'd have to move it.
Yep.
and then
So that was the
following
move,
Mondays,
and
yeah.
then
Yeah.
Memorial Day on top of it.
And there's a graduation that day.
28th, yes.
City's graduation's at
Yeah,
6
later,
o'clock.
but yeah, we can, if it's
Yeah,
at 4:30, we
28th.
can.
So, yep,
It's on the calendar.
28th at 4:30. Good, okay, all right. All right, well, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.